Hey everyone, Dingdong here. I just wanted to make a video on how to be more efficient at the gym, as I've been asked a couple of questions on how to be more effective with your time when you're training. Now, I just wanted to preface this video by saying that the most important thing is intention and goals. Ultimately, if you're there to train, you're there to train, and something that was kind of reminded to me back in all of the school sports that I ever did was that we're here for a goal, we're here for a purpose, and reminding yourself of that before a training session should help you help ground yourself into having a more effective training session. And with that being said, the first thing that I wanted to talk about is actually use your phone less. Now, if you don't use your phone, that's totally fine, but there are little distractions that creep up in our modern day of training that actually get in the way of us stringing together a effective training session. One thing that you can do is to potentially use something else other than your phone for recording your workouts. Now, I understand most of us, especially in the powerlifting space, have apps that we utilize to record our training, such as Sheets or My Strength Book, but I wanted to just emphasize that you can always just write your workout out in like a pad, piece of paper, and then actually just transfer that later. If that helps you stay on your phone less, and to actually focus on having a training session, it's worthwhile because having a more efficient training session where you're less distracted might lead to a higher quality training session. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is to string together high quality sessions. So aside from using your phone less, the second tip that I'd give is to be effective with your rests. Whether you're warming up or in between sets, you never want to utilize rest as a means of pausing external stimulus. At the end of the day, you're there to train, and rest should be productive in producing another high quality working set or to actually prepare you for the top set. So things that you might be able to utilize is to have varying rest times for kind of the SPD or for accessories. And I would recommend that for compound lifts, anywhere between 2 to 7 minutes is probably more than enough. And for anything like isolation movements, 1 to 3 minutes. Again, it depends on where you are in your training, and it also depends on what you're trying to achieve. I'd also emphasize that it's really important to discuss this with your coach, actually to also understand, hey, is it important to be resting a lot during this time or during this time? You don't want to be under resting and then not preparing yourself for a high quality working set, but you also don't want to be over resting that you're actually losing performance on the top end because you're actually taking way too long to get ready. That's the second tip. The third tip is actually more of a mindset change, and that's you're here to train, and that the goal is to actually achieve something. And it's really important that you kind of set that intention early into the training session, and so that you're not actually using the time in the gym as a means of really being not useful with your time. Be useful, be effective. I know that kind of phrase didn't make that much sense just now, but to kind of like frame that in a different way, your mindset matters in terms of how you walk, how you approach, and how you see the training. One of the first things that I got into, especially when I started gymming for the first time, was Eastern Weightlifting. And the East have a really kind of holistic view in terms of how to train and the methods of stringing together a training session. Be fluid with your movement, be intentional, and just have a good time. Actually use your body to execute the movements well and really focus in on how does my body feel? Am I able to actually do what I'm trying to kind of achieve on that day? If that made no sense whatsoever, I can help clarify it if you DM me. But having a good mindset going into training is probably the most important thing, and being goal orientated and intentional with what you're trying to do will help ground you to actually focus on having a high quality training session. Now, I've listed a couple of things to potentially save time, and I've only made habitual changes. If you're interested in making programming changes, I would first please encourage you to consult that with your coach to see are they able to change the program in any kind of way to make it more effective on time. Otherwise, you can also DM me if you are interested in some programming changes, or I can make another video. I think the most important thing above all else is that you are especially using these times only when you need to, these techniques only when you need to, and that you're not actually trying to make your training this all the time. At the end of the day, the gym and training is a fun place to be, and it's also a good place to socialize with others, to connect with others, and that's going to be more important in terms of the longevity of your time in powerlifting or whatever that you do. It's important that you enjoy yourself and don't ever allow a pressure of time to get in the way of your outlook, or to view the outlook on lifting in a completely negative way because of the time pressures of the world. Anyways, if you have any further questions, just DM me. If you have any coaching inquiries, DM me as well. All right, goodbye.